We are going live. Hi everyone, it's Pam and Emma here from Best Studio in Sippy Downs, and so as always, great to catch up. And you know, we're just relocating, so as people pop on, we'll give it a minute or so and go through the usual spiel.
Yes.
You had a great meeting? Well, we always go, hi, great weather, and the usual spiel.
I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what the usual spiel is. Oh no, the pressure's on.
The pressure's on.
It's really good weather. We're on the Sunshine Coast.
I did a marketing course this week, and the first thing he said is, never start your live with telling everyone how great the weather is.
Oh, it is. It's really good. Come visit us.
And I went, oh my gosh, we do it every single time.
And I'm English. We always talk about the weather. It's
of course
done.
she does. It's a given. Anyway, so it is good to be back. It's good to be chatting with Em for a change. And, you know, as much as technology has given us the opportunity to do these things long distance, it's always great to be together again. So, yeah. And this morning I said to Em, what's our topic? And she goes, I want you to talk about that duality thing you'd like to talk about.
It's like a request, and you know what, we're really open to requests. We like it if there's something that you want to have a little chat about, or you want to know a little bit more about, or maybe it was a subject that we've even talked about and you're like, can you just, you know, go into that further? You can PM us, leave us a message under this live video. You know, very approachable. We're very approachable.
We're very approachable.
So anyway, so I said to Pam, I said, you know, living in duality, and that's one of Pam's, any gifts? Many gifts. She's got a lot. All right, well, chalk it up. But it's, you know, and I talk to people about it, but I always get really inspired when you know, get into your sort of the flow about living in duality. So I'm going to hand over to you, because what is living in duality? What do we mean by that?
All right, living in duality, and I think you'll see in the tag when it's going, when we feel bad, when we feel good, and you know, when things are on track, when things aren't on track. You know, it's that whole give and take, that push and pull that's happening in our life, right? So I became really passionate about living in duality when I'd listened to a talk from Dr. Sue Morter in Spiritual Best, and explaining to us what that expansion and contraction really meant. And it just hit home. You know, sometimes when you hear something and you just go, holy hell, that just makes so much sense. Well, that was for me a couple of years ago. You know, we all know that sometimes we feel bad and then we feel good, and, you know, it's part of the ebb and flow in life. But really fundamentally understanding what that means to embrace that, how life-changing that can be. Because we are going to have days where we feel crappy. We are going to have days where everything feels like it's going wrong. And then we're going to have these days where we just feel on top of the world. And we all strive to feel on top of the world all the time. And yes, who wouldn't want to? The problem with that, or the issue that arises from that constant high, is we sometimes lose touch with our own reality. You know, we start to what's the best way to say it? When we're living in the clouds, right? When we start living just in the clouds and we're not grounded and we're not back into what's happening every single day, that's when things actually start to fall apart, because we're not necessarily taking stock of the events around us, because we're on that high the whole time. We've shut out the world because we're trying to achieve this thing. It's like you're on this drug, right? But the drug wears off. And if you are not aware of your reality and that drug wears off, it's a crash. It's like a massive detox, and you get flawed, and it takes so much more out of you then to try and pick yourself up and pick up all the pieces and put yourself back together again because of this big massive splat, because you were pretty high up, and then start again. Now, that splat was necessary because you were out of touch with self. You were out of touch with your community or your work projection. You know, you were racing through things, and this was like, wow, look at this, it's so easy. But in actual fact, what you were doing is you were missing vital points along the way. And by missing those points, where you could have stabilized your foundation, it didn't. crumbles down and you splat. And so we start again. You could still be focused on the same area, but you feel like you've gone 10 steps forward and 100 steps back. And once we embrace the living in duality, where we slow things down a little bit and be a little bit more connected within ourselves, we can understand that when these ebbs and flows in our feelings come about, that it's trying to teach us something. That vital key point that my gut said something, but you know what, I'm so high up in the cloud and I feel so good, I'm just going to ignore it. Well, your gut was trying to tell you something. You know, it was saying interact with that person, or don't interact with that person, or yes, make that business decision, or hang on, no, slow down. That's not the decision that you need to make right now. We're going to have to assess or analyze a different strategy to get us to the same point. So in that, and I've referred to that whole scenario as course correcting, right? When we live in duality and we feel inadequate, well, feeling inadequate is your way of going, oh, I'm not good enough. But it's not saying you're not good enough. What it is saying is right now you might need additional support, or you might need another tool set, or you may need to, close this chapter and start that chapter. Whatever that inadequacy is showing you, if you sit in it and allow it, contract back and bring your energy back into yourself, feel where it sits, feel where it's guiding you. Well, then that expansion that you have from that aha moment, or that, hey, okay, this is where I'm going, and you're now on that path and you're moving through on that path. When you're on that path, it's a more realistic feeling. It's not this woo-woo, high, bubbly, up in the clouds, living up there thing. It's tangible. It's putting you in a space of success and achieving where you want to go, because you've now acquired the tool set. You allowed yourself to contract, reset, recalibrate. Sometimes you just need to rest. In that, your body was just saying, hey, rest for a few minutes, because we're going to need this energy for the next step. Because remember, we know where we're going. Our brain just has to still catch up. Our soul knows what we're doing. We're on this path. We just sometimes need to slow it down and see where this path is leading us.
See? Told you she was good. Do you feel that energy? Do you feel that energy?
I love doing it.
You feel that?
So,
I mean, it's just such a passionate topic of yours.
It is.
And it's so important. And the reason for me it's so important is because we quite often get into that push-pull of, why am I not happy? Why am I not doing this? Why am I reading all these positive memes that should be lifting me up? Why am I not living that way? Well, there you go. Rewind the video, listen to what Pam has to say, and you'll see that the importance of that kind of down feeling, that grounding feeling, and it becomes a vehicle in some ways, or it may,
100%.
it might, not always, but it can come into this vehicle and it drives you into the next space where you actually need to be.
I think that's perfect. I'm going to use that next time.
Okay.
Part of my passion.
Copyright.
Copyright. All right. I will always let you know. 100%. You feeling a certain way is your indicator to change, right? It is your encouragement to find something else and understanding. Now, I only used one example, feeling inadequate, right? And you want to feel good about yourself, and so why am I feeling so inadequate, and what do I need to change? That's one aspect. Impatience is another one. I get really impatient when I want to get things done, and so because it makes me feel good when I accomplish it. But it doesn't help that I'm going to ignore my impatience in seeing that if I just feel good to get it done, because my impatience is actually showing me where I'm passionate about it. Like this is important to me, but it makes me also stop going, hang on, why am I feeling like this? What about this is important? Is this going to be of service, or is this self-serving? And do I need to slow it down a little bit and look at the proper course to take, so that the message is heard, or so that the tool is delivered? The website thing, the webinar thing that we're doing.
Yes.
It's been doing my head in. I just want to get it done, right? I've got all the pieces and I'm trying to shove it together. But you know what? Being impatient actually messed up my program. And so we had to go right back. My side of what I needed to do, my program inside of it, got screwed up because of my impatience. Because I just wanted to get it out there, and that feel-good feeling of, yes, I've done it, I've succeeded. Instead, now, accepting that my impatience is my, hang on, there we go, feel that, sit with it, be patient. Let it allow itself to evolve, because your passion is there. It's getting in the way. Like, hang on.
It's great though, isn't it, when you learn the lesson? Because like you're not going to repeat that lesson over and over. When you start really finding and working out and learning the lesson, and not just learning the lesson, you really start to appreciate the fact that whatever was happening in your life was there in order to show you something you needed to know about yourself. And then you take that time to kind of accept, if you like, it's like kind of self-advice. Yeah, it's advice, or accept the fact that this is a particular way. Then it changes everything, because once you change the way that you look out, you change your energy. When you change your energy, you change everything that surrounds us, because we're all vibration, right?
Exactly. Now, if a contraction or grounding, that grounding feeling, that not so, and remember, we as humans on the western fronts of the world are the only one that perceives certain feelings as negative or positive. Every feeling, you put the energy into it. If this is a bad feeling or a good feeling, you decide, right? Because if that bad feeling is actually your teacher, isn't it therefore a good feeling?
Yes.
And if your good feeling is making you sky high and losing touch with reality, well, is it then such a good feeling after all? So it's finding that balance. It's finding that decor in your life. And it's really then important that when you're feeling in that not so good feeling, or that contraction moment in your life, your slow down moment, to really stop and take some deep breaths. You could do your 4 square breathing or rhythmic breathing if you want to know how to do that. You breathe in slowly for 4, you into your belly, big belly, expand that belly, hold it in there for 4, and then slowly exhale again, really getting that all out. And as you exhale, hold that breath out for 4. Just it gives your body time to set into itself, right? You can do that. That's one tool that you can use. The other one is channel breathing, where you breathe in through the top of your head into your belly, and you hold, and exhale to the bottom of your feet and hold that out there, and then you're creating that challenge. Now there's a couple of muscles that we could use in the meantime. You can contract your mula bandha, we can squeeze our heart, we can restrict our throat, we can look at our third eye. It's really important, and it's something that I learned from Dr. Sue as well when we do the energy code. So another avenue that we can explore in how to bring that energy back in towards ourselves, and how to be a solid power in who we are, in any feeling that we are, so that we can see that lesson more clearly, so that we can be more engaged in ourselves, to see where that road is leading us, to see what our next step is.
Well, and I want to up the challenge. I'm going to up it. I'm going to up the stakes, okay? So Pam's told you a couple of really awesome ways of dealing when you go into that kind of, I call it a yuck feeling, that time. I want you to now, and this is a bit of a challenge, I want you now to kind of think back to a time when you were feeling that, and you were feeling out and not so great. And when you're doing that grounding, and obviously, the breathing and everything that comes with it, I'm going to suggest to you that you remove the blame from other people.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
This is
like, I'm feeling rubbish because so-and-so didn't put the bins out, and I'm feeling rubbish because I was trying to do something and they kept trying to interrupt me. No. I want you to remove because we can't do anything about the stuff that's going on around us. I think there's limiting stuff we can do. The only people that we can take control about is ourselves. And that's the big thing. So when you get into that yucky, that living in duality, and you go back and have that bit of self-reflection, remove. Challenge yourself. Try and do it. And then start looking for the lesson from that. So when you're there and you say, what do I need to know about me? Did I need to make it a lot clearer to the people around me that actually I needed that half an hour to get a chore or a job or whatever, or uninterrupted time? Did I not make that clear to people? Well, I can change that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because when you start taking responsibility, you start empowering yourself. When you start realizing and understanding where you're coming from, you can kind of get that control back, because that powerlessness, it's not a nice feeling.
No. And I think, and that's true, definitely do that. And I think when you are in that space, when you do honor that and start self-reflecting, you'll actually see your pattern. You'll actually start to see what it is that you're doing. Because remember, we're all mirrors. We're all reflecting on each other. We're all bringing people in. Like attracts like, right? So in that space of living in duality and understanding that, well, what's your lesson? What's it teaching you? What are your choices? What are your patterns and your self-sabotaging? Is it really that other person that's doing it, or are you doing it to yourself? And you're just reflecting and blaming. So your yuck feeling could be your lesson to say, hey, you need to change your ways, or you need to change your approach. So it all comes back to self, 100%.
And look, we get it. It can be confronted. We get it, you know. So if you are really struggling and in terms and with the confrontation and trying to work it all out, well, you know, you can always give us a call. Our details are on the Facebook page, you know.
And yeah, I'll pop the link in for a chat. You can always book that in and we can have a chat or send us a message. But yeah, if you are having a hard time embracing living in your own duality and what your duality is showing you, I think it's really important to see what that resistance is within yourself. You know, it's easy to say, look at yourself. But when you're looking at yourself, but you're always beating yourself up, instead of seeing the value in yourself because everything of you is of value, well, then we need to address that and see what that pre-programming that's happening there, that the glitch in the system is. So we'll pop those links in.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want you sitting there feeling like you've got to flail and try and just keep your head above water. That's no way to live, you know. There are techniques in there, there are strategies, there's all sorts that help release that interference. And once that interference is released, then we've got, you know, heaps of info about how to move then forward. Because it's not just a case of let's release, off you go. It's like, let's release and then let's help you move forward.
We don't want to just survive in this world. We want to thrive in this world. So why not? You know, why not have that ultimate experience, life-living experience that we only have this body once. We might as well enjoy it while we can, right? And do our things, whatever greatness it is that you are offering to this world. Step into that and shine into that and see what it is, what your good, your bad, and your ugly is trying to show you.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that from a movie?
Probably, Is it Clint Eastwood? I don't know.
Yes, there we go. You see, we do know stuff.
So just to finish off, I don't know what Pam's marketing guy said, but I'm going to do it anyway. I am away as of Friday for 2.5 weeks, okay? But Pam is here. And so, you know, pick up the phone, get an appointment. And I'll see you all when I get back. Because I won't be able to go live, I'm going to London, so that'll be 1 a.m. You're all right. Pam will look after it for a couple of weeks. I'll see everybody when I get back from my big journey. And thank you so much. If you're watching the rerun, we really appreciate it. By all means, if you're around, give us a little heart and a thumbs up. We love all that. Apparently, Facebook loves that, so
get us out there.
Yeah, we do that.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening to us. We do enjoy these moments. We really want to hear from you. So please comment, make comments if there's any questions. Let's get this conversation going. Share this with someone that you feel might need to hear this message. Yeah, that would be appreciated too. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.